So back in the day, we would go through, essentially going through phone books, right? Maybe not like that, but through our CRM. The way that we use 6sense is we identify organizations that are a good fit for Imagine It and make sure that we're calling the right people at the right time with relevant information. So we use that data so that we could use phone calls, emails, LinkedIn, and be able to be effective with our prospecting. So one of the things that I really like is combining website visits and some of the keyword searches that they use. So when I bring up, let's say if I call up a client, I could see it on the screen and I could talk about relevant things that they've already seen and see how effective, what are the challenges that they have. And it seems like it lines up to what they're looking for rather than a shot in the dark. Yeah, one of the things I would like to see more of is I'd like to see more fields go into Salesforce. For example, keyword searches. So if I could see the most common keyword searches or the most common websites that are visited, because we use automated dialers to essentially scale up our phone calls. And I'd like to see that front page when we're prospecting. So that's one of the things I think that would be very helpful for us. I would say 10. Absolutely. Right. I think one of the things that was very helpful is for any organizations that are having a hard time targeting the right people, the right accounts at the right time. There's so many accounts out there and people are having a harder time. Prospecting is harder than ever. So being relevant makes a big difference in terms of differentiating yourself between other organizations. And I think that's a key piece for any company that are really challenged by those things. Other products that are somewhat similar to Zoom Info, I think that's the only one I typically would compare to, but I don't really use any other intent tools in the past. Yeah, so we actually use both. 6sense, I think, does a better job with better data, better keywords. It seems like it provides more contextual data that's a little bit better than Zoom Info. In the past, when we use Zoom Info, and this is 7 years ago, but kind of like, they have no idea what I'm talking about. At least with 6sense, I'm in the ballpark of relevant things that we're talking about. It's not exactly the right thing, but it gets me to the next step, essentially. Yeah, one of the big things I think 6sense does a really good job is increasing the amount of pipeline that is generated within our organization. It's definitely one of the underrated things is, I would say, mental health. Cold calling is very difficult. 6sense really makes it a lot easier to not stress out nearly as much going into these cold calls. Of course, that it's still going to happen. People are going to hang up, but I felt that people felt more confident going into these phone calls. Yeah, I think so. One of the things here I thought was kind of interesting is that they'll find a location, right? But it's anonymous, so it's not tied to a contact. But it was actually good enough to figure out, well, there's only like two guys who work at that location. So it's got to be one of the two, right? And one of them is a relevant contact, the other one's not. So I'd say it's pretty helpful, right? I don't dig too much into it, but it's something I probably would have to review more on. All right. I think we have the AI summaries, which is really helpful finding out the first contact who's been engaged with our marketing resource. So it's a good first step. I think there are other AI tools that we're currently not using, or at least I'm not aware of. So that's something I'm looking forward to kind of learn more about. Yes. 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 We use Monster Connect. We use Zoom Info. We use Sales Link Navigator. We use a lot of different technologies within my company.